Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. Want to win in life's challenges? To know the will of God and have more passion for Him? Practical help right now with Tak Bhana and Running with Fire.
We finished yesterday by talking about God's yoke for us is kind. It is not abrasive. Matthew 11:30, Jesus said, "My yoke is easy, my burden is light." And I think what happens with the weights that we carry in our lives, God walks alongside us. We are yoked together with God, and He carries the heavier part of our weight and the burden of the things in our lives. Have you ever been through a situation and wonder, how did I cope? Well, the fact is you probably didn't. Jesus walks alongside you and carried a lot of the load. I've looked back over some of my toughest years as a pastor. There have been some tough ones, believe me. And I've thought, how did I keep going? How did I carry the weight of responsibility in those days? Keep preparing sermons week after week when my heart and my emotions were in such turmoil and disarray and anxiety. How did I keep leading the church, smiling, loving people? I realize now the Lord walked alongside me and carried most of the load and most of the weight. Amazing. God's kindness to you and to me. That's why you and I can survive the most unbelievable hardships when we are properly yoked together with Jesus, the kindest person ever to live, who helps bear our burdens. But of course, if we're not properly yoked to Jesus, we're doing our own thing, and Jesus is just an add-on, then the burden and the weight can overwhelm us. So the important thing is to be fully surrendered to God and yoked together with Him. I sometimes worry about what we think about single missionaries, foreign countries, living on their own, sometimes in dangerous places. I think, how could they possibly do that? I would think it'd be impossible. But then I've come to realize that they're yoked together with Jesus. He walks alongside them and carries much of the strain, much of the weight, and enables them to enjoy what to us would seem like impossible situations. Do you know another aspect of God's kindness? Is that God is reasonable. Keep that word in mind, reasonable. Often people are unreasonable with us, or we are unreasonable with them. There's a story told in the daughters of Zelophehad, who asked for an inheritance. Let me read to you Numbers 27, 1-4. The daughters of Zelophehad approached the entrance to the tent of meeting and stood before Moses and said, "Our father died in the desert. He was not among Korah's followers who banded together against the Lord, but he died for his own sin and left no sons. Why should our father's name disappear from his clan because he had no son? Give us property among our father's relatives." So these are the daughters. So Moses answered them, "If there's one thing I can't stand, it's assertive women. We're sticklers for tradition. So no, you can't have an inheritance." No, that was not Moses' response. Moses didn't react. He didn't get defensive, didn't snap or yell. He acted in a way that was reasonable. Wise, a godly response. So this is what actually happened. Numbers 27, 5-8. So Moses brought their case before the Lord, and the Lord said to Moses, "The daughters of Zelophehad speak what is right. You shall surely give them a possession or of inheritance among their father's brothers, and cause the inheritance of their father to pass to them. And you shall speak to the children of Israel, saying, if a man dies and has no son, then you shall cause his inheritance to pass to his daughter." We see a God who is kind, who can be entreated, who is flexible, even negotiable in some cases, who listens before he answers, who isn't stuck in tradition, but will bend the rules when they can be bent, when wisdom and fairness require it. One of the great aspects of God is He is reasonable. We can talk to God. We can discuss our situation with Him, and God will come back and respond to us in reasonable ways. He's not a stickler for the letter of the law. So let us also be people who are reasonable when we are faced with situations and people ask us how to deal with something, or ask us for a favor, or whatever it might be. Let's be kind. Let's be.
Tak Bhana is the Senior Pastor of Church Unlimited in Auckland, New Zealand. For more information, to make contact or to listen again, look for Running with Fire at our website, vision.org.au. Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.